हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, सो आज आप एक नौ चैप्टर स्टार्ट किया है. चैप्टर है डिजाइन ऑफ कंप्रेशन मेंबर्स, राइट? So first we talk about this basic introduction and the compression members, right? So first of all, what is the meaning of compression member? So structural member which is subjected to axial compressive forces is known as a compression member, right? So it is designed governed by strength and buckling. So there are two main types of this compression members. First is column and the second one is strut, right? So the definition of column is when a compression member is oriented vertically, hence it is known as a column. And a compression which is maybe oriented in any direction has a insignificant bending is called strut, right? So these are the definition of compression member, column, and the strut, right? So generally compression member in trusses provided are normally called struts, where they are normally provided for small spans or lighter loads, right? So except for the pin joint trusses, such members under external loads experience bending moments and shear forces, right? So basically, if the net moments are zero, then the compression member is required to resist load acting in concentric to the original longitudinal axis of the member, and it is termed and known as axially loaded column or axially loaded strut, right? So where are, what are the sections used as a compression members, right? So the shape of compression members mainly depends on this availability of sections, connection problems, and type of structures, right? So, in this theory, numerous shapes can be used as a columns to resist given loads. However, from practical point of view, the number of possible solution is severely limited by sections availability, connection problem, and type of structures. Right. So basically, it mainly depends on this three reasons. Right. Availability, connection problems, and type of structures. Right. So. Various possible configuration that may be used as compression members are this shown in this figure, right? So there are different types of compression member. First one is a single angle, right, which is in L shape. Now single angles provided as a equal and in opposite direction and connected back to back, right? So hence it is called a double angle. There is a T member channel member which is also in shape of she, right? W column, pipe or round HS, S tubing, square tubing, rectangular, four angle box section, box sections, right? W with cover plates, W and channels, built up sections, right? Built up sections with cover plates. So So the effective length of compression member, starting with this first very criteria, effective length of this compression member. So effective length of compression member. What is the effective length? So it is the distance between the points of contraflexion of a buckled column, and it is mainly depends on the actual length of columns and its end conditions, right? So the actual length is taken as a length from center to center of intersections with the supporting members, right? So અહીંયા શું કહે છે કે તમારું મેઇન જે ઇફેક્ટિવ લેન્થ કઈ હશે, તો જે બંને બાજુ સપોર્ટ પ્રોવાઈડ કરેલા હશે એ સપોર્ટ્સના સેન્ટર ટુ સેન્ટર ડિસ્ટન્સ કાઉન્ટ કરશે. તો એ બે વચ્ચેનું સેન્ટર ટુ સેન્ટર ડિસ્ટન્સ જે હશે એને આપણે શું કહેવાય? ઇફેક્ટિવ લેન્થ. સો અંડર ધ આઈડિયલ કન્ડિશન્સ, ધ બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશન્સ ઓફ અ કોલમ may be idealized in one of the following ways, right? And a column with end condition and effective length are: first case is both ends are hinged, second one is both ends are fixed, third one is one end fixed and another one is hinged, right? And the last one is one end fixed and other is free. So these are these four cases, right? So in the first case, pin ends provided at the both ends, right? In that conditions, here effective length is also as shown in figure, right? Center to center distance between these supports, right? So in that case, effective length taken as k is equal to 1. Whether if the case is one end fixed and other is a free, then in that case center to center distance between is taken as le, which is effective length, is equal to 2l, right? And k is equal to 2. Here the effective length equation is k multiplied by l. So here in pin connection, is equal to kl is equal to k is equal to 1 and l is equal to le, so k is equal to le. In second case, kl is equal to 2 multiplied by 2l, which means 4l, right? In third conditions, both ends are fixed. So whenever both ends are fixed, take k is equal to 0.5 and l is equal to 0.5 l, which means effective length is equal to kl is equal to 0.5 multiplied by 0.5 l, which is zero point 0.5 multiplied by zero point 0.5 is equal to 1. So kl effective length is equal to 1l. And in the last case, one end is a pin and another one is a fixed end, and hence in that case k is equal to 0.7 and l is equal to 0.7 l, right? So in that case, effective length is equal to kl is equal to 1.4 l, right? So here these are this four conditions of right, four cases. If any one cases is provided, right? So take kl is mainly depend on this four case, right? Now next one is slenderness ratio, which is known as the lambda, right? So slenderness ratio equation is effective length of column divided by minimum radius of gyration, which means lambda is equal to le divided by r. So if lambda is more, then its load carrying capacity will be less. It mainly depends on this equation, right? Now next one is a short compression member and long compression member, right? So in short compression member, how we identify the member is a short or long? So here the main equation is L by R. If L by R, which is less than or equal to 88.85, hence it is known as a short compression member. For Fy is equal to 250 MPa, right? So failure stress equal to yield stress, and here no buckling will occur. It has no practical application, right? Here a short compression member is practically not in use. So we can easily take this long compression members, right? So in long compression member, axial buckling stress is below proportional limit. They will buckle essentially, and Euler's formula give the strength of long columns, right? So uh, possi- there are possible failures of an axially loaded column are mainly because of first one is a compressive material failure, which is very short and fat. Second is a buckling failure, which is very long and skinny. And the third one is a combination of both compressive and buckling failure, in that a length and width of the column is in between short and fat and long and skinny column. So first is local buckling, right? So this failure mainly occurs by a uh, local local buckling of one or more two individual plate elements, right? So here some x parts of a column are so thin. This center portion of this part is so thin because of this thin portion, then they will buckle locally in compression before the other modes of buckling can occur, right? So basically failure by local buckling can be prevented by selecting suitable B by T ratio. B with width and divide by T means thickness. Width by thickness ratio of component place. It suitable suitable for designing, right? So if there are not b by t ratio is not in a proper composition, so because of that failures occurs, right? Second one is a flexural buckling, right? So in this type it is also called a Euler's buckling. So it is the primary type of buckling. Members are subjected to bending or flexure when they become unstable. So this type of failure mainly fails by excessive deflection in the plane of weaker principal axis, right? Whether in whole section weaker, it has been some must weaker principal axis, though because of that in that portion maximum deflections occurs, right? So this type of this mode of failures normally controls by the design of most compressive compression members, right? Next one is the squashing. When the length of column is relatively small and column is a stocky, then its component plates are prevented from local buckling. Then column will be able to attain its full strength before this failure. Hence that the squash load is equal to yield stress multiplied by gross cross section minus sectional area. So the main compression member decreases as its length increases, right? So next one is a cross section classification, right? So in cross section classification in IS 800:2007, cross sections are placed in four behavior classes, mainly depends upon the material yield strength, width to thickness ratio of the individual components within the cross section and loading arrangements. Here there are four classes as you seen in this figure. First one is a plastic, which is known as class 1. Second is compact, which is known as class 2. Third one is a semi compact, which is known as a class 3. And the last but not least is a slender section, which is also known as class 4 sections, right? So in this we starting with this slender portion, right? First it is also known as a class 4 section, right? So in this type of cross section which the elements buckles locally even before reaching the yield stress, it means our this section is a very thin. So before any load applying, it will all already buckles, right? So it means that we are not practically used in that slenderness ratio because of its very thin section, right? So the second one is next one is a semi compact section, right? In semi compact section, now we're talking about first one starting with this plastic, right? So cross section which can develop plastic hinges and have a rotation capacity required for failure of the structure by the formation of plastic mechanism, right? So mainly પ્લાસ્ટિક સેક્શન નો મતલબ એવો થાય છે કે જ્યારે તમે લોડ એને અપ્લાય કરો છો, રાઈટ? તો એ કોઈ પ્લાસ્ટિકનો મતલબ તમને ખબર છે કે તમે કોઈ પ્લાસ્ટિકની જસ્ટ ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ એક પ્લાસ્ટિકની ફૂટપટ્ટી લઈ લો, તો એ પ્લાસ્ટિકની ફૂટપટ્ટી તમે વાળશો પછી એક સર્ટેન લિમિટ પછી એકદમ એ શું થઈ જશે, બટકાઈ જશે, તૂટી જશે, રાઈટ? તો એની સર્ટેન લિમિટ અહીંયા પ્લાસ્ટિક મોમેન્ટ અહીંયા બતાવે છે. પ્લાસ્ટિક મતલબ એકદમ સડનલી તૂટી જવું અને yield મતલબ વળવું, મેક્સિમમ એને આપણે બેન્ડ કરી શકીએ એનો મતલબ શું થાય રહ્યું, એમ વાય. અને પી મતલબ પ્લાસ્ટિક મોમેન્ટ. સો એની પ્લાસ્ટિક મોમેન્ટ શું હશે, વધારે હશે, કે થોડું બી તમે વધારે લોડ આપશો એની લિમિટ કરતાં વધારે, તે કેવું થઈ જશે, તરત બકલ થઈ જશે. નેક્સ્ટ સેક્શન છે આપણું compact section, right? So cross section which can develop plastic moment of resistance but have an inadequate plastic hinge rotation capacity because of local buckling, right? શું કહે છે કે પ્લાસ્ટિક સેક્શન કરતાં એની જે પ્લાસ્ટિક સેક્શનમાં જે એની કેપેસિટી હતી કે સર્ટેન લિમિટ પછી એ તરત બકલ થઈ જશે, રાઈટ. તો એ કેપેસિટી એમાં કેવી હશે, થોડી વધારે હશે, તો મે બી થોડા વધારે લોડ રેઝિસ્ટ કરીને પછી એ કેવું થશે, સડન મોમેન્ટ આપશે કે બકલ થઈ જશે, રાઈટ. So in third section, which is semi-compact section, cross section in which the extreme fiber in compression can reach yield stress but cannot develop the plastic moment of resistance due to local buckling, રાઈટ. સો શું કહે છે કે જનરલી લોકલ બકલિંગ થઈ નહીં જતું, રાઈટ. અહીંયા દેખાય છે કે આ તમારું એક સેક્શન છે, રાઈટ. એની પર તમે લોડ આપશો, પછી મેઇનલી શું થઈ જશે, એ ફ્લેટ થઈ જશે, મતલબ કે એનું જે કેપેસિટી હતી એ અહીંયા એકદમ બકલ થઈ જાય છે, તૂટી જાય છે સેક્શન, બે અલગ અલગ પાર્ટમાં ડિવાઈડ થઈ જાય. જ્યારે અહીંયા શું થાય છે, આ જે સેક્શન જે છે તમે એને બંને અહીંયાથી લોડ આપો છો ને એક બીજી બાજુથી બે ઇક્વલ એન્ડ અપોઝિટ લોડ આપો છો, તો એ એનું જે લોડ કેરિંગ કેપેસિટી છે એ બકલ નહીં થાય. એ શું કરશે, વળશે એક સર્ટેન લિમિટ સુધી એ શું કરશે, મેક્સિમમ એની જે લોડ કેરિંગ કેપેસિટી હશે કેવી હશે, મેક્સિમમ, એ મેક્સિમમ yieldથશે, વળશે, રાઈટ. સો ચારે ચાર સેક્શન જે અહીંયા પ્રોવાઈડ કર્યા છે, સ્લેન્ડર, સેમી કોમ્પેક્ટ, કોમ્પેક્ટ, પ્લાસ્ટિક, એમાં મેઇનલી ઇફેક્ટિવ સેક્શન જે છે આપણો કયો કહેવાય, સેમી કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શન. કેમ, કારણ કે આપણે મેક્સિમમ યીલ્ડિંગ સ્ટ્રેન્થ આપે છે. કોઈ સડન લોડ આવ્યો તો પ્લાસ્ટિક એન્ડ કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શનમાં કેવું બિહેવ કરશે, પ્લાસ્ટિક છે એકદમ બકલ છે, તૂટી જશે, રાઈટ. એના કરતાં એની પછી લિમિટ કઈ આવે, કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શન. એનાથી સૌથી સારી શું છે, તો એને આપણે ચડતા ક્રમમાં ગોઠવીએ કે સૌથી ખરાબ કયો, તો સૌથી સ્લેન્ડરનેસ સૌથી ખરાબ છે. એના પછી કયો આવે, પ્લાસ્ટિક સેક્શન. એના પછી આવશે કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શન અને પછી લાસ્ટમાં આવશે સેમી કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શન. તો આપણે ઇકોનોમિકલી અને એફિશિયન્ટલી આપણે શું લઈ શકીએ, સેમી કોમ્પેક્ટ સેક્શનથી આપણે ડિઝાઇન કરીએ તો આપણા માટે સારું રહેશે. નેક્સ્ટ છે ડિઝાઇન. ઓકે, સો અહીંયા સુધી આપણે પેન્ડિંગ રાખીએ. આપણે એની ફેલિયર મોડ્સ જોયા, રાઈટ. કયા કયા ફેલિયર મોડ છે, એનું ક્રોસ સેક્શન ક્લાસિફિકેશન સેક્શન જો કે કયા કયા એના ચારમાં ડિવાઈડ થાય છે, ચાર સેક્શન્સમાં, રાઈટ. એની ડેફિનેશન જોઈ, કેમ આપણે શોર્ટ કમ્પ્રેશન મેમ્બર આપણે ડિઝાઇન નથી કરતા, રાઈટ, કે કેમ આપણે લોંગ કમ્પ્રેશન મેમ્બર લઈએ છીએ. સ્લેન્ડરનેસ રેશિયોની ડેફિનેશન શું છે, એની ઇફેક્ટિવ લેન્થની કઈ કઈ ચાર કન્ડિશન છે અને એના કઈ ઇક્વેશન છે, કયા કયા ટાઈપના શેપમાં કમ્પ્રેશન મેમ્બર્સ છે, રાઈટ, કેમ આપણે એને યુઝ કર્યા છે અને કમ્પ્રેશન મેમ્બર્સ કયા કયા હોય છે, રાઈટ. તો એની આપણે ડેફિનેશન બની. જો તમને આમાં કોઈ ડાઉટ હોય તો તમે મને પૂછી શકો છો.